On a hot summer day in Alabama, a young boy with a restless mind took apart toys not to break them, but to understand them. That boy was Lonnie Johnson. Long before he changed backyard battles forever, he was already dreaming in circuits and rocket fuel. Growing up in segregated Mobile in the 1950s and 60s, Johnson built his own inventions from scraps his father brought home. In high school, he constructed a fully functioning robot named Linux and entered it into a statewide science fair, where he was the only Black student competing. He didn't just participate, he won. Johnson went on to earn degrees in mechanical and nuclear engineering, eventually working for the US Air Force and later at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He helped develop power systems for spacecraft and contributed to missions like Galileo, which explored Jupiter. By day, he worked on interplanetary science, but at night, he experimented in his home workshop, chasing ideas that had nothing to do with space. One evening in the 1980s, while testing a new heat pump design, Johnson hooked up a powerful water nozzle to his sink. A stream of water shot across the room with surprising force. Most people would have wiped up the spill and moved on, but Johnson saw a possibility. He refined the design, engineered a pressurized air chamber, and created a water gun, unlike anything the world had seen. In 1990, the Super Soaker hit store shelves and it exploded in popularity. It became one of the best selling toys of all time, generating over $1 billion in sales. But Johnson's greatest pride wasn't the toy aisle dominance, it was the freedom it gave him to fund serious scientific research. Through his company, Johnson Research and Development, he has worked on advanced battery technology and energy systems aimed at making renewable power more efficient and accessible. Lonnie Johnson is more than the inventor of a legendary summer icon. He is a NASA engineer, a pioneer in energy innovation, and a holder of more than 100 patents. His life is proof that imagination doesn't have to choose between play and possibility. It can power both. From rockets to reservoirs, from Jupiter to joyful water fights, Lonnie Johnson didn't just make a splash, he engineered one. Natasha, what do you think about Lonnie Johnson?
I love it. So this is whenever I go to like Target or Walmart and get a super soaker, I am funding scientific research.
Yeah, right? I'm going to go out and
That's
buy some
cool.
super
I
soakers
know.
because I mean, this guy, he's still doing this. Like, he's still working on energy innovation and it's still being funded by super soakers, which is
No way.
impressive.
That
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. So there's actually a children's book that goes along with this. And this is how I found this guy because I was looking at some children's books that I have that are based on true stories. There's one about like the inventor of the crayon, and you've probably seen some of these. I've used the one, the inventor of the popsicle, and I've used them in my classroom to talk about science, freezing point with that one. But this one, it talks about his invention of the super soaker. But it's just so cool that his story is his I mean, he's a genius. He invented this robot as an 18-year-old in Alabama, uh, back before we landed on the moon. I mean, it just amazing accomplishments.
I love that. Yeah, this is a really great story to highlight for students because it's somebody I have never heard of. And it sounds like he's made a major impact on a lot of our technology. So I love this series that you have for us.
Yeah. Well, they're great role models. And of course, with all of these highlights that we're doing for every podcast episode, there's a freebie that goes with it. That's a lesson plan that teachers can use in their classroom. And this one's really cool because it puts the students in the role of an inventor to solve serious issues like clean drinking water, renewable energy, disaster relief, space exploration, or transportation safety. And then after they've come up with a problem or the solution to these serious problems, then they look at their invention again and think of like a less serious way, a practical daily use of their item. Just like Lonnie Johnson had this heat pump that he then used that technology to make a fun water toy. So, uh, Yeah, you can find that freebie along with many other free STEM activities, of course, in our free resource library in the STEM Explorer library. So, yeah.
I love that, and I think that kinda makes me reflect on all of our different engineering design challenges and how we often talk about making our lives better and don't always highlight better is also fun, more fun, right? And so having this idea of designing a game or a toy, using different materials, I think that's a cool project, but anyway, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
You just thing that we've talked about some, and we have in like our lunar and Mars colony and orbital mission, where entertainment is and mental health is a big deal. Like that's part of our life that we often don't think about when we're talking about engineering and science. It's are we improving daily lives? Well, that also includes entertainment. That's a big deal too. Just like we have so much money that goes into the infrastructure of sports. I mean, if we just think about the millions and millions of dollars that go into just entertaining people at a football stadium, that's a big
Yeah.
deal. So we also need that kind of thinking when we're talking about building a base on the moon, which is going to happen. If you've seen the new Artemis,
The new shift, yeah.
yeah, so we're going back to the moon to stay, and we're gonna need everybody. Like, I'm gonna need a coffee barista on the moon when I go. So if you're into that, like, you can be in space exploration in that way, but we also need so many more things like entertainment and, maybe somebody that has some idea of how a super soaker would work on the moon. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, that's a good one. How
I don't
things
know
would
what
work with
kinda
a lot lower gravity, yeah.
Yeah, water fights on the moon, what would that look like? I don't know.
Hmm.
So, yeah, uh, and also, I found another article while doing some research about Lonnie Johnson that I wanted to talk to you about because it shares the 5 traits of a great engineer. I wonder if you could name
Oh,
any of
no.
these traits. There's 5, can you name 1?
Okay, who made this list?
This would be from engineering.com,
It would be.
so they know some things.
Okay, so, like, a trait as in a personality trait, like, we always talk about oh, knocked my water
Yeah,
over.
so soft skills.
Okay, so something like perseverance and grit is one that we always talk about.
You nailed
If
one,
that's not on the
perseverance.
list.
Yeah, perseverance is definitely one. I'm gonna have to scroll and write these down so I can see them while you're naming them. Ooh, okay, you're probably not gonna get this. You might.
Um,
Can you name another one?
I mean, this one's kind of generic, but something around problem solving, critical thinking skills.
Yeah, independent thinking.
Ooh, independent thinking.
Independent thinking, yeah, thinking on your
Good one.
own, which I think is really interesting. We don't often think about that, especially in STEM, we're pushing a lot of teamwork, which is super important, but also to be able to think for yourself. I think that is a good one. And these are things that Lonnie Johnson himself named as keys to
Oh,
his
okay,
success.
okay.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe that changes some things.
Now I'm
Did
kind of
any
in this, like, way of thinking because I know systems thinking or, like, big picture thinking, is that
That's
I
a
don't know if
good
that's
one, but that
personality.
wasn't something that he listed. So you've got perseverance and independent thinking. I'll give you that one because that's like
Alright,
critical thinking. And so we have 3 more.
give me a hint.
Okay. When you are approaching a problem, is it usually, the problem coming to you? Or do you think there's maybe something going on that maybe is cat-like?
What? The problem is that coming at me like a
Maybe
zombie? Like,
killed a cat. I don't know. I
what?
Okay, I'm asking a Greek person, English idioms.
I know what
What
you're talking
killed
about, but it's not
what killed the
clicking.
cat, Natasha?
I have no idea.
Curiosity.
Curiosity. Oh, I almost had it. Okay.
I thought, "Oh,
Got it.
no, maybe she doesn't know this one." Yeah,
Yeah,
curiosity. That was his first one that he said.
that's a really
To have a
good one.
curiosity that fuels, like, how you learn and, understand things and put together, which is a huge thing for innovation, is being curious about how things work. Okay, so we have curiosity, perseverance, independent thinking. The other one, what drives engineers?
Glory.
Maybe
Obviously.
ambition?
Yeah.
Ambition? Yeah, yeah. So Johnson said that he looks for tough problems. Those are the ones that make a difference.
Ooh.
I was like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah, okay." And then the last one is leadership, which we don't talk about enough, I think, when we're thinking about engineering. Would you agree with these things?
Yeah, I'm not sure about leadership. So, yes, um, but you also have, like, different kinds of engineers. So, when I'm thinking leadership, I'm thinking, like, project management. I would almost put it as initiative instead of leadership
Mhm.
to be a little bit
Okay.
more encompassing. Like, in his role, absolutely, he needed leadership. Like, he's building a company, he's having to lead teams of people to support things. But, I mean, what do you think? Because yeah. What are your
Let me
thoughts?
read to you what he said, and maybe this will give some more context. He said, "I was content for a long time just doing my thing. Despite a discomfort with public appearances, he's now made many, and for a good reason." He says, "We need our youth to be motivated. We need to inspire people to pursue their dreams. And so, in that sense, I've become a role model, and I take that sense of responsibility." So that's what he means by leadership. So I get that. I mean, it's
Hmm.
important for us to pass down the things that
Mhm.
we've learned, and I think that's maybe part of how we include the end of our design process as being, sharing, because if we don't share out, then we're not helping other people and moving everything forward. I think that that falls into
Yeah, I can see
leadership.
that. Yeah, I like it. And, like, communication skills is part of leadership, so I think that fits.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else you'd add to this list?
I was gonna say creativity, but I think that's part of independent thinking or independent problem solving. What do you
Yeah.
got?
I mean, I'd always add creativity in there,
I know.
definitely. But, yeah, it's probably built into most of the other things as well.
But I
So,
still think, like, systems thinking or some kind of, like, cross-disciplinary thinking where and
mm,
that is what he did in his work, and being able to, like, see these problems, and that's part of curiosity, but not just being so narrowly focused on the math and the physics, right? But also being able to just understand society and kind of how your problem has implications and yeah.
yeah, yeah, I wish there was a really good word for that because there's so many words that go into that. Interdisciplinary, um, what's the word when you're thinking about the client, the customer, what's that word? There's a word.
There's a word?
Hmm, yeah, or like a phrase. There's something, it's there somewhere. I'll think about it later and add it to the show notes, and I'm like, "Ah, this is what I wanted to say." But,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like
thinking
considering
about
the customer perspective.
empathy, that's what it is.
Oh, there you go.
Empathy. Yes. Yeah, so many things where you're getting outside of your box of just "Here's the problem, this is how you get to the solution, here's the solution."
Ooh,
Yes.
okay. We may also need to clarify here engineering versus inventor.
Ooh, yes. That's true. Yeah, because we're really talking about inventor,
I
but
think
there's a lot
so.
of overlap with an
A lot.
engineer,
Mhm.
right? What would you say the difference is?
Well, I feel like, as you mentioned, all of these really fit under the invention space versus you can be a very successful engineer and not have all these traits because you could be more task oriented and very good at math and physics. And someone's like, okay, find the best shape of this wing for an airplane, right? And you just sit with your models and computational thinking hat and figure it out and submit it to the project engineer. That's why I was getting stuck on leadership.
That is
Um,
yeah, I think that would be a inventor more than engineer
yeah.
quality. You're right. Mhm. And maybe that's the biggest difference, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think in our schools and thinking about K-12, we really are talking about invention and innovation, with, like, engineering design skills and, like, the skills that engineers bring, but it's like these are all traits we want all kids to have, right? And to build in their classroom, and so sometimes they get really hung up on this word engineer and
Mm,
engineering, but we really mean something a little bit bigger.
yeah, I think you're right. Do you think this is like one of those a rectangle no, a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square thing, where an
Hmm,
inventor is an engineer, but an engineer is not an inventor? Do you think that could be
possibly.
true?
But so now my question is, can you be a good inventor and not have engineering skills?
I don't think so. That's what I'm working through. I don't know that
Mhm.
you can, but I think I need to go through some examples. Right now, I can't think of any that I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, they're a great inventor, but mm, I wouldn't make
Man,
them an engineer." But
work on those math skills.
yeah, kinda, I mean, it all kinda goes hand in hand, I think there.
Well, okay, but sometimes you need, like, some real training to do engineering well. Like, say you're working at a Boeing or Lockheed Martin, right? You have to know certain tools, you have to understand some basic principles, to do well on the job versus maybe invention, like, you have some natural abilities and you're like, oh, this super soaker design, like you get the idea of it, but you may not know the mathematics behind it and maybe how to actually
Okay.
put it and build it. But you get like, you have
Mm,
this vision that you can hand off to an engineer to actually manufacture.
that's a good point. So you're more like the visionary side of the engineering mind
Mhm.
and not necessarily the hard
Kind of
skill.
like an architect with a civil engineer.
Ooh, I don't know if we should get into that because I
What was today's podcast topic, by the way?
this is it. I was
Oh,
like about Lonnie Johnson and these things that he said, the 5, but it says that the title is The 5 Traits of a Great Engineer. But
mm.
we're arguing that this really leans more towards inventor than engineer. So,
And there's no
but I
saying
think
one is better than the other. We're
right,
just trying to kind of point
all
out the
valuable.
differences, yeah,
Yeah,
on we just don't fully agree that this is encompassing everything that an engineer has to have.
and I think it's really important to make these, distinctions when you're talking with your students about what engineers do. I often see where people say, "Oh, engineers build roller coasters," or something like that. Like, no, they do not. I have never built well, really most things. I mean, I've designed a lot of things. I've designed airplanes. I have never built an airplane. So, we have to be really careful with the words that we use so that we don't have a bunch of kids that go into college and they're like, "I'm ready to build whatever." I'm like, "No, we don't do that." Like,
We
it's the
design it.
mechanics and the
Yeah.
we have other people that do it. We design. That's mostly what engineers will work on is the design work. So, yeah, I think it's important to distinguish that. I think there's also thinking through this inventor thing, there's a lot of more scientists that are inventors uh, that don't do engineering. So
Mhm.
there's a lot. And I think it would be a good exercise to go with your students through patents and determine, hey, what did you need to make this patent? Did you need an engineer to do this? Who would make this? How would they make it? What kind of thinking, what kind of background would they need? More science heavy? Do they need a lot of math to make this? Because it takes all types to solve all the problems in this world. So I think that's important.
So you know who we need to bring on as a guest on this topic?
Your
Is what you're
husband?
pointing out. Well, he's already said no, but someone else.
Mhm.
We talked a lot here about misconceptions of what is an engineer and how engineers design and not necessarily build, and science versus like engineering and invention and so on. So Dr. Peterson, also known as Rachel, my bestie in grad school, is now a professor at Texas Tech in STEM education, and she's all about misconceptions in engineering education and how we teach engineering to kids. So shout out to Rachel because I know she listens to the podcast. So give me a call. We're going to bring you on as a guest.
Let's do it. Yeah, that sounds amazing. We've had her on a couple times before, and it was so much fun. So, yes, let's definitely do that. But before we sign off, I have some feats of STEM in the news to tell
Ooh,
you from
okay.
this last week. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, first, boiling space oceans. A study in Nature Astronomy suggests that some icy moons, including Enceladus, may have underground oceans that can begin to boil as their ice shells thin. Heat from tidal forces generated by the planet's orbit causes the ice to melt and refreeze over time. When melting reduces pressure inside smaller moons like Enceladus, Mimas, and Miranda, conditions may reach the triple point, where water can exist as ice, liquid, and vapor, possibly leading to ocean boiling beneath the surface. These processes could explain unusual surface features and help scientists better understand which moons might support life. That blows my mind, the triple point, like how all that
Mhm.
can happen at the same time. And it would be a terrifying moon to visit, I think.
Agreed.
Second, light control. Scientists at NYU have developed a new way to control how crystals form by using light as a remote control. In a study published in Chem, researchers added light-sensitive molecules called photoacids to a liquid containing tiny suspended particles. When exposed to light, these molecules briefly changed acidity, which alters the electrical charge of the particles. By adjusting the brightness and duration of the light, scientists can control whether the particles stick together to form crystals or separate and dissolve. This reversible one-step method allows crystals to be grown, reshaped, or erased in real time without changing the chemical makeup. The breakthrough could lead to light programmable materials and adjustable properties, such as adaptive sensors, reconfigurable optical coatings, and next generation display or data storage technologies. Did you
I
understand
did
that?
not follow that at all. I was like, I'm trying to picture these crystals and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I read the research article and I was like, wait, what? And what I
Sounds cool.
gathered is like, uh, it just how we have the SMAs, the
Mhm.
shape memory alloys that you can just send electrical current through, and then it changes the shape of the metal. Like we can just shine lights at things now, and then it could just like reform into something different.
Like it moves or it changes colors?
I think it can do all the things. It's
Oh,
changing crystal, like how crystalline structures. It changes the structure or just dissolve it. So I'm thinking, I mean, what my
sounds
brain went
dangerous.
to is like, we'll have statues and then the sun will come up and they change into something crazy, like a gargoyle that like comes to life. But then maybe midday when the light's a certain way, it disappears. I don't
This
know.
is very practical result of this research.
I mean, that's what I would do with it. They're probably doing something more useful, but yeah,
That
gargoyles is
sounds
what
like
I
some
do.
Harry Potter stuff.
Hey, we're doing all sorts of things that are used to be science fiction. So
It's true.
dream big. Okay, this one. Thing in real life. Researchers led by roboticist Aude Billard at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology have developed a highly flexible robotic hand that can grasp multiple objects at once and even detach to crawl around independently.
What?
Reported in Nature Communications, the silicone and motor device features a round palm with identical reconfigurable fingers that can pair in any combination to grip items on either side. Unlike human hands, which rely heavily on a single thumb, this design allows multiple finger pairings and symmetrical grasping, enabling it to hold several objects simultaneously. Using computer simulations, the team programmed the hand to determine the best finger arrangements for different tasks before applying those instructions in real life. When detached, the hand can move like a small mechanical creature, using its fingers as legs to explore tight spaces such as pipes or engine rooms. While experts note it may not yet match human strength or fine manipulation, the innovation opens possibilities for inspection robots, advanced prosthetics, and more adaptable robotic systems. You can get a lesson to discuss this with your students from the New York Times using the link in our show notes. It's actually a
Ooh,
STEM lesson plan.
that's cool.
Can you imagine though?
Okay, but this is just like the way they marketed this. Like a detachable hand just sounds creepy, right?
Yeah. It's more like a spider, but
Or yeah, it's like a spider mixed with like an octopus. Like,
yeah, that you can
yeah.
also eventually use as a prosthetic hand that can just like detach and roam
Now
around.
that's cool. That's a superpower right there.
It is. It's kind of like in Iron Man where it like shoots off the fist and then it can like
Yeah.
fly around, but this one can crawl around.
This is like sci-fi, like we were just talking about, coming to life.
Coming to a classroom near you. Yeah.
Kids would love that.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, next. Lunar construction. Astroport Space Technologies and Venturi Astrolab have successfully tested a robotic lunar excavator designed to help build future infrastructure on the moon. The demonstration showcased Astroport's excavator mounted on Astrolab's modular Flex rover, which can swap tools depending on the task. During the field test, the system moved about 94 kilograms of simulated lunar soil or regolith in just a few minutes. The technology is aimed at solving major challenge of lunar construction, which is loose, abrasive moon dust that can damage equipment when spacecraft land. By excavating and sintering or melting regolith into solid surfaces, the system could create stable landing pads, roads, and habitat foundation before astronauts arrive. The companies described the excavator as a foundational step toward automated large-scale lunar construction, supporting long-term space missions and sustainable lunar economy. So, yeah.
Cool.
Construction on the moon. We've talked about 3D printing on the moon before,
Mhm.
and this is like
So
something we can do. Yeah.
I have a request for our next STEM news. So, as
Okay.
you know, my brain does not visualize things, right? So, I have a really
Oh,
hard time like following your facts because I'm like trying to
because you
like
can't picture it.
focus. I can't picture it. The robot, the hand detaching was the good one because I was like, I can't follow this. But like the one that you just said, I had a really hard time like imagining what you were talking about because I can't picture anything. My brain.
Yeah, I think we need to do a whole
Be a whole
podcast
podcast on it.
episode about
Yeah.
how your brain works because this is
But
the craziest revelation where you don't picture things in your head. And
just
apparently some
realized
people don't narrate in their head either, which is like you can't hear a voice when you think.
that's a whole podcast episode. Yeah,
Well,
I
you
just
can.
realized
Yeah, we
I
haven't talked
can.
about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But my point is, if you could bring me a picture next time with your news articles
Yeah,
or like send me the link, I can look at it while you're talking.
good idea. Well, good news for you, Natasha, is that the links to all these articles will be in our show notes, and then you can click on them, and then
Amazing.
you can go look at the pictures.
I love it. That's great.
Uh, Speaking of seeing things, our last news today, a miniature wireless retinal implant. So the little thing that goes in your eye. You picture an eye?
No, but I'm looking at your eye.
But it's offering renewed hope to individuals who have lost their sight due to advanced age-related macular degeneration. In a large international clinical study, more than 80% of participants recovered significant central vision. Many were able to recognize letters and even read short words again after years of progressive vision loss. So, an implant in their eye is helping them see. It's about 2 by 2 millimeters in size, and the implant works by replacing damaged light detecting cells in the retina. It converts incoming light into electrical signals, helping restore the connection between eye and the brain and enabling patients to regain functional sight. So, a big step to recovering blindness. So, I think that's
cool.
really cool.
So it's not like a new eye. You're getting like a tiny little piece added to your eye.
Yeah, a little computer that's going in your
Wild.
retina that takes the light and then changes it to electrical signals sent to the brain. Nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for listening and trying to understand news articles. Go check out those pictures in the show notes. But for now, STEM Space out.